Most people think of Martin Shaw as a serious actor from roles like Judge John Deed, but it turns out that whilst filming Inspector George Gently, Martin struggles to keep a straight face, as we found out when we went behind the scenes on the latest series.
Martin Shaw, and I play Inspector George Gently.
The way that George Gently works is it's really a double act between Martin and Lee, who are fantastic and inventive and very appealing, blokey coppers. And then each episode goes into a different world.
The late 60s, I think, is a really interesting time because of sort of the social change, particularly with the police. The police was changing. Gently and Backus actually talk about why is it that they're not seen as the local Bobby on the beat anymore, but are seen as pigs.
It's great doing a period piece, especially if you never lived through it. So it's nice to step into that world and discover what the attitudes were like and sometimes how primitive it seems comparative to today. And of course Martin lived through it, so he tells us all about where he was in his head at that time, which is great because it's more, you've got research right at your fingertips there.
1524, take one.
Gently's style of policing is morally driven. He's one of those kind of mythic characters that you often get in police series who will never cut corners, who genuinely feels that he's there to do a service.
Gently, I think, always communicates a kind of human integrity. He's clearly a man who's seen a lot. He was in the army himself.
And I think, as most people will have done who were military participants in the Second World War, they will have felt that Nazism was an evil that had to be defeated. And I think George Gently has carried that over into his sense of crime fighting.
Backus is quite an ambitious copper in Durham Police Force. What I love about Backus the most is just him not apologising for what he is and who he is and what he thinks.
I don't think anybody would accuse Backus of being a deep thinker.
I think his ambition and his drive has been taking a bit of a knock after the end of the last series where he got shot. He's a bit of a shadow of his former self, really. He's disillusioned by the whole thing.
I don't think I can be a policeman anymore.
Don't think you can or don't want to be.
What difference does it make? I'm done, I'm done, I'm done.
Gently sees his almost being lost and decides that he's got to do something. He's got to step in and shove fire back in his belly. Somebody stopped me in the street and said, "Oh, you played Backus in George Gently." And I went, "Yeah." She went, "I don't like you." He's a bit of an arse at times, but I like him.
Each episode has a self-contained story. This one, which I've directed, is about a cover-up. The premise is that the military carried out experiments using LSD and other psychedelic drugs on squaddies in the 60s.
The drug was administered in a drink of water given at the start of each day's exercise.
In this story, one of those squaddies has had mental problems ever since and flashbacks ever since, and the episode starts when he commits a murder. It's based on a true story. We did all watch that, and in the middle of this film there's a sequence where we recreate squaddies off their faces, some of whom are giggling, some of whom are not.
25 minutes later, the first effects of the drug became apparent. The men began to relax and to giggle. But this man was more seriously affected and had to be removed from the exercise. 50 minutes after taking the drug, radio communication had become difficult, if not impossible, but the men are still capable of sustained physical effort. 1 hour and 10 minutes after taking the drug, with one man climbing a tree to feed the birds, the troop commander gave up, admitting that he could no longer control himself or his men. He himself then relapsed into laughter.
I was very impressed by the research that the actors did, fortunately watching footage rather than popping pills, but they were convincingly off their faces.
There isn't a single day, there isn't a single scene that goes by when we are not in hysterical laughter in one form or another.
The devil gets the better of you and you just start to giggle at the silliest of things.
Lee is naturally funny. I mean, he's one of nature's comedians.
Because Martin giggles as well, I don't feel quite as bad, because he does it as well.
Lee will look at a line and then, unless it's something tragic, he will try and find a way of doing it that's funny. Then he will take me by surprise and I'll either laugh corpse or say, what the bloody hell are you doing? But it keeps it alive all the time, and I think that's the secret, because neither of us really know what the other one's going to do.
There was certainly one actor who I won't mention who couldn't remember his lines, and it just started them all off. And I mean, I'm amazed we finished the day, because it was one of those things, not one take was done without someone bursting out laughing.
Lee and I clicked just from day one. We are genuinely fond of each other.
Working with Martin and Lee is fantastic, because they get on so well both on and off set.
It's just one of those rare things of going to work with your mates.
I mean, they're very professional, but they're also good fun and they enjoy their work, and that makes it easy for everybody.
And there's this sense of continuity and friendship, given how difficult it is filming a TV series these days. And so if you're going to be exhausted, you might as well have your mates around you.
Cut.